Hello, this is Archie Dunlop with Talking Astrology with Archie on Sunday, June the 2nd, 2023. Today I am going to be boring. I'm going to look at more royal family horoscopes. I really do apologize. I've already looked at too many. And to make matters worse, I'm going to look at Meghan's chart yet again. And I'm going to compare it with the chart of Princess of Wales. So I'm not just looking at the charts individually. I'm doing a comparison, which I haven't done before. So I hope you're not too mad at me for doing this. You're probably really sick of Meghan and indeed all of the royal family by now. But maybe it's a good point of illustration about how one uses synastry, the branch of astrology which compares two charts. Now, what inspired me to want to look at the charts of Meghan and the Princess of Wales together was a recent article in the Daily Mail. I'll very quickly look at the headline of it. So this article says, it was titled, "It was Kate who insisted recollections may vary line must stay in royal family's fight back statement after Harry and Meghan's opera racism storm. New book claims princess said history would judge the firm over its response to TV allegations." And it says further, there you go, this chart was published June 30th, 2023. It's by Sam Greenhill and Arthur Parashar. Anyway, it was the Princess of Wales who pressed the Queen to declare recollections may vary in her infamous riposte to Harry and Meghan, a book has claimed. Behind the scenes, Kate was even steelier than Prince William in her robust palace response to the Sussex's incendiary racism allegation interview with Oprah Winfrey, it was reported. So that's the article, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. I'm first of all going to discuss what's going on today, July the 2nd, what the planets are doing. Then I'm going to look at individual horoscopes. I'm going to do individual sun sign horoscopes for the 12 signs, and I will do an I Ching reading. And it's only then will I talk about Meghan and the Princess of Wales. So let's start off by looking at today's astrology. So this is a chart set for noon, July the 2nd, 2023, in London. And we can see that the moon is still in Sagittarius. And in Sagittarius, it's aspecting Venus and it's aspecting Mars. This is good news. I mean, the moon in Sagittarius, it's an exciting place for the moon to be in. Lots of activity. It's free flowing, it's full of sparks, full of excitement. It doesn't hold back, and it brightens up whatever it touches. And then it trines Venus and Mars. Venus and Mars are the two relationship planets. Venus, the planet of female sexuality, Mars, the planet of male sexuality, and they're all brought together by the moon in Sagittarius. So that suggests quite an exciting day. Good time for meeting people. Good time perhaps for embarking on new relationships, for socializing, all that kind of stuff. The only word of warning I would give is that Venus is making a square 90-degree aspect to Uranus. So Venus is a planet of love, a planet of relationships, but it's square Uranus. Uranus is a planet of earthquakes, instability. So it's possible that there could be unexpected events which are disruptive to relationships. That's not just about romantic relationships. All kinds of links with other people could be disrupted. So, for example, if you're arranging to meet someone, don't be surprised if they're late. Perhaps their car will break down, or if they're traveling by public transport, I don't know, the buses will be delayed, trains will be stopping, whatever. So you've got to be tolerant of other people's mistakes. And, if people break a promise by not showing up, there may actually be a perfectly good reason. Though on the plus side, Uranus is an exciting planet. And just because it's in square to Venus doesn't mean there's going to be a bad result. There could be exciting events, sudden meetings, relationships taking an unexpected but interesting course. So there is certainly a positive side to Venus square Uranus. Venus is also, though, the planet of money and expenditure. So if it is square Uranus, there could be unexpected expenditures that you hadn't really planned for. So if you are spending money on anything more than the basics, then be very careful. So if you have an impulse to spend money that you really weren't expecting to spend, then just don't do it. I would have said at the beginning of the day, ask yourself what money you're planning on spending. Maybe you're not spending money on anything, in which case stick to your plan. Don't spend money on something that you hadn't planned for at the beginning of the day. Now, as far as the 12 signs are concerned, here are my forecasts for today, Sunday, July the 2nd. Aries, the energy is starting to flow, and you know how to make things happen. Relationships work best if you and the other person have the same view of the world. Travel comes in many forms. Taurus, you want a quiet life, but your own actions could stir things up. That's because Venus, ruler of Taurus, is square Uranus. Your impulsive actions disturb the equilibrium, and then you have to work out how to put the pieces back together. Gemini, everyone can talk to each other, and your versatility can put you in the center of things. If you are looking for love, then it might be your day. It's all about having the right conversation. Cancer, there is work to be done, but you won't mind. You'll take the view that it's all for a reason, and good preparation can, in the end, lead to a financial gain. Leo, it should be an exciting day when the people around you will be on great form. Yet it's important that you're open-minded, that you consider activities that are outside your normal experience. Virgo, nothing has to be done. Enjoy your Sunday and let the social currents run their course. If you don't leave home all day, that might be construed as something of a triumph. Libra, you thought that a person or a situation was finally moving out of your life. However, there is one more chance to bring things back. Is this a chance you want to take? Scorpio, I don't know what your plans are for Sunday, obviously, but there is the potential for being very successful in your various endeavours. So don't feel any obligation to relax. In fact, hard work can be rewarding and profitable. Sagittarius, you can show friends and family a whole new world in a way that is uniquely Sagittarian, being bold and challenging the boundaries. If you are religious, then places of worship can be more satisfying than usual. Capricorn, the introspective streak you have been experiencing is likely to continue. It's nothing to feel guilty about, and you should enjoy your constructive introspection while it lasts. Aquarius, come down off your pedestal. Start to experience the world and its wonders. There are people out there who crave both your attention and your companionship. Pisces, today there are lots of things you've got to do. It might feel very boring, but once you get into the swing of things, you'll forget what you were worrying about. And also, time will fly. So I will now move to the I Ching. And as always, threw the coins in the air, and I asked the question, what will Sunday be like for visitors to my YouTube channel? And the first hexagram I got was actually the best hexagram in the book. Number 14, possession in great measure. Now, it's suggesting that, yeah, you've got it. Your financial situation, for example, is not as bad as you claim. You know, you are, perhaps relative to a lot of other people, you know, in a good position. And it's important you have the right attitude to your possessions. Now, you know, possessions, I don't think is just about money. Possessions can be knowledge, your capacity to help people through your knowledge. And one of these lines moves, and this moving line, let me just move to this third line moves, and there's a warning here. You have to kind of accept that whatever your possessions are, they don't fully belong to you. They're there to be shared. Now, that's not the same as me saying, oh, you should go out and give stuff to charity or that kind of things. Particularly when it comes to your knowledge and your experience. You can share your knowledge and your experience with other people. You are expected to. I mean, I think the universe is expecting you to do that. If you keep it all to yourself, you will ironically lose it. So, you know, that's often, you know, a rule or a law when you're dealing with this kind of stuff. You know, if you're feeling that you haven't got enough money, there is a view that giving a bit of money away can actually help you get the money you're looking for. So it's a kind of that's a kind of weird way of looking at it. But I suppose, you know, when you look at, you know, very rich people, these philanthropists in America, you know, or this idea, you know, this sort of Christian idea of this tithe, that, you know, you give 10% of your income to charity. I mean, it sounds a bit crazy, but strangely, by giving away 10% of your income to charity, you're actually making, in a strange sort of way, making yourself richer, not just spiritually richer, but financially richer as well. And that's the kind of the law of the universe. So yes, it's very important that you share what you have. And this hexagram moves. And I think I've already shown you a sneak preview of what this hexagram is, and it's not great. It's hexagram number 38, opposition. Opposition means that we're in a situation where it's difficult to bring things together. if you look at this hexagram, the top 3 lines represent fire, the bottom 3 lines represent water, and the I Ching says that, the fire and water cannot occupy the same space. So we're in a world where, where there's a lot of separation, and we are separated from a lot of the people around us, and that's the way it is, and that's the way it is likely to be. And I think that's where the advice comes in, to give what you have away. So if you're feeling separated from the world around you, then give something away. Give away some of your knowledge. You might be keeping that knowledge, thinking, oh, you're going to use it. You don't want to share that knowledge, because if someone else uses it, you won't be able to benefit from it. That's not a good attitude. Okay, if you've made some brilliant discovery and you don't want someone else to take it, fair enough. But we just don't want to hold on. And if we want to break through this opposition and actually cooperate with other people and to get on with other people, we're going to have to give something. We're going to have to give something away. So I think that's the overall message of the I Ching. So that's the I Ching. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at the horoscopes of Meghan and the Princess of Wales, and I'm going to try to bring them together. Here is the Princess of Wales horoscope, Catherine, Kate, whatever. And we get the impression that she and Meghan don't get on with each other. I mean, that was certainly the suggestion in the Daily Mail article. So how would we go about working out whether or not they get on with each other? You can come up with these incredibly complicated astrological methods to work it out. Indian astrology has even more complicated methods. But, it may be really simple. In the 90s, I co-wrote a book called Sex, Stars and Seduction. And it was just comparing signs, Aries, Virgo, whatever, in terms of sexual compatibility, whatever. I don't think the book did very well, but I did co-write this book. I think you might be able to get it secondhand from, I don't know, thrift books somewhere if you look hard enough, but I wouldn't really bother. So if we want to keep it really simple, we can say, oh, well, Catherine, Kate, she's a Capricorn, and Meghan, she's a Leo, and Capricorns and Leos don't get on, and just leave it at that. I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, Leos have high opinion of themselves, they're prima donnas. Capricorns, by contrast, they're sensible people, they plod along, they're like the mountain goat. They're not looking for the bright lights. How can these two signs possibly get on with each other? I would have said that maybe, Kate's Capricorn would find Meghan's Leo just rather tasteless and just not to her taste. I mean, you don't need all that bright lights, really unnecessary. But what about from a perspective of Meghan? Meghan is a Leo. Leos like lots of praise. And if you want lots of praise, don't go to a Capricorn. That's, Capricorns would say, well, what is the point of just praising someone for the sake of it? So we could just keep it simple and just not worry about, all the complications of synastry. Or we could create a composite chart. Now, a composite chart is something that astrologers do a lot of. So what a composite chart is you take the midpoint of each planet and you put it together and you come up with this. There's a composite chart. There's a chart for both of them together. It's not Kate's chart, it's not Meghan's chart, it is their composite chart. I won't really bore you with the details of how you work out the ascendant and all of that. So, how do we read that chart? Well, I do use composite charts. I must admit, I'm not a complete fan of composite charts. And I take the view that you shouldn't read them in total detail. You should really be looking at the just the main points. And you certainly wouldn't say that a relationship is doomed on the basis of a poor composite chart. So what do we see in this chart? Okay, Moon, Mars conjunction in Leo. Now, there was a medieval astrologer, Guido Bonatus. He wrote these aphorisms, and he said that, talking about Moon-Mars aspects, and if I remember rightly, he said something like, the woman is right, I will warrant. So when you've got Moon-Mars in astrology, it's about a woman who has a high opinion of herself, well, not necessarily a high opinion of herself, but it's a woman who just thinks she's right when you see Moon-Mars. And so don't argue with her. So when you've got a composite chart, you've got two women who just really both think they're right. And, it's in Leo. I don't know to what extent you can use signs in a composite chart, but that Moon-Mars conjunction is not very fuzzy. I mean, it's a bit aggressive. If this was a composite chart for a male-female romantic relationship, maybe the Moon-Mars conjunction would be fine because it would be highly charged, exciting, dynamic, all that kind of stuff. But for two women who are potential rivals in some ways, that Moon-Mars conjunction is not good at all. And matters are made worse by the fact that Venus they're square Venus. So, you can see Mars is square Venus in the composite chart. Again, if this was a male-female chart of two people in a relationship, the Venus-Mars square might be very exciting. But two women, that Venus-Mars is just not good. And then you throw in Uranus, so you can see Uranus and Venus, Uranus square Moon-Mars. Really, I think that's all you need to say on that. I don't think you need to look particularly closely at the rest of the chart. So I think the composite chart does indicate very real tension there. So composite chart suggests there might be problems. Although when I'm doing synastry, I think I prefer to look at the relationship, the cross aspects. So, for example, if one's looking at cross aspects, you would set up a so there's Meghan's charts. So you would set up a bi-wheel, for example. That's one way of doing it. You can set up a grid, so we can have we'll have Kate in the middle, Meghan on the outside, and so we can put their charts up like this. So you can see we've got Meghan on the outside and we have got Catherine in the middle. So the first thing we notice, what do we notice? Well, it's interesting that Kate doesn't have any planets in fire. I mean, when I say planets, I mean she doesn't have any traditional planets in fire signs. She's got Leo ascendant, but that doesn't count. She's got Uranus in Sagittarius, Neptune in Sagittarius, but again, that doesn't really count either because these are generational planets. So when someone has got no planets in fire, it can mean one of two things. It can mean that they crave fire. They're looking for people who are fiery. Or they just find fire not something they want to really get too close to. And so Kate, with no fire in her chart, is dealing with someone who's got that Sun-Mercury conjunction in Leo. And I suspect that Kate just doesn't like that spark that Meghan has. She's a Leo, she's a fiery person, and Meghan just doesn't sit well with Kate. So that's one problem. Then we have the question of their Mars. Their Mars. You can see that Kate has got Mars in Libra, and at 1028 Libra, and Meghan has got Mars at 1127 Cancer. In other words, Kate's Mars is square Meghan's Mars. So that's just a clash straight away. I mean, there's nothing more to be said about it. I suppose you could get into a bit more details. Mars in Cancer is not actually very well placed. Okay, it's got triplicity because Mars rules the water signs, but it's fallen. Mars is fallen in Cancer. So Kate probably doesn't really express her anger very well. And so when it clashes with Kate's Mars in Libra, actually Mars doesn't actually work in Libra either. So both women have Marses in signs where they don't really work very well, and these two Marses are square each other. And so neither woman can really handle their anger properly when dealing with each other. And so that is a major problem with this relationship. Then we look at their Mercuries. If you're going to get on with people, you need to be able to communicate. You need to be able to talk, and that's where the planet Mercury becomes important. So Kate has got Mercury in Aquarius, and it's conjunct Venus in Aquarius. Very rational placement for Mercury. It suggests that maybe she's quite I think that maybe talks about her intelligence and the fact that she can look at things in a sort of rational, logical way and not get too emotional about it. I think by all accounts Kate is pretty intelligent. I think she did well at university. I suspect she's more intelligent than her husband. I think Meghan's more intelligent than her. Well, Meghan is certainly more intelligent than her husband. But this Mercury, Kate's Mercury in Aquarius, is opposition Meghan's Mercury in Leo. Mercury in Aquarius trying to be slightly detached. And then Meghan's Mercury in Leo just totally egotistical, believing she's right, will not compromise. In fact, Mercury in Aquarius doesn't really like to compromise either because Mercury is a fixed sign. So that Mercury opposition Mercury in fixed signs, there's not really much space, not much space for compromise there. So I think looking at Mars square Mars and Mercury opposition Mercury is enough to suggest these two women are really not going to get on with each other. And then you throw in the composite chart and it's not going to work, and there's not much room for compromise. One final thing I noticed, which is kind of a bit weird, is Kate's Saturn. Kate's Saturn is at 2150 Libra, and Meghan's Pluto is at 2151 Libra. So Meghan's Pluto is exactly 1 arc minute out, conjunct Kate's Saturn. Now, normally, you don't really look at Pluto in composite charts. It's, well, I don't. I know some people do, but probably a lot of people do. Not composite charts. When you don't really you don't really focus on Pluto. It's too generational as far as I'm concerned. But in this case, I think it must matter. Saturn represents Kate's boundaries. That's what Saturn is. And there's something about Meghan's Pluto that is attacking Kate's boundaries. It's that mini generation Pluto in Libra. They've both women have got Pluto in Libra. But Meghan's Pluto in Libra is just right on Kate's Saturn. And I think that Meghan's desire, perhaps, to transform herself through relationships, Pluto in Libra. Of course, Meghan is wanting to transform herself through her relationship with Harry. So Meghan is really living out her Pluto in Libra, and it is wrecking or certainly threatening Kate's boundaries. I'm not too sure what it is about, but maybe Kate all along could see through Meghan and could see a side of Meghan that Harry just couldn't see, and it's that Pluto-Saturn that's the final thing that is just causing all these problems. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say on Meghan and Kate. You could apply this analysis to any other situation. If you want to look at two charts, two people you want to do their synastry, clients, whatever. You use this kind of approach if you're using Western astrology. So that is all I'm going to say, and I will talk to you again tomorrow.